We certainly need to empower our girls, and a way to empower them is to give them information and to help them understand that just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you have to be subservient to every man's advances.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's empowering our girls in a way. But this again,
I think we need to teach girls. We tell girls how to say no.
Yeah.
But we don't teach them how
Right.
to actually deliver that effective no. And then we don't teach boys to hear it.
I want to say that
we
as
talk
well.
to boys like, you'll never hear yes. Good girls don't say yes.
That's the thing.
If you get a smile, if she kisses you,
you're in.
You're
that brings us into this issue of consent, right?
Yes.
Like, it's not clear that the lines are very
I don't even
blurred.
like that with this conversation of consent, we say no means no.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I like yes means yes.
It's yes means yes,
Okay,
right?
but
When you get a yes, that's the yes.
That's
a
here's
smile,
what I
a
wanna
kiss, a little hee hee.
I need to say
not
this
yes.
though, because as women, most women have had this conversation. You know, your daughter starts to, even the first sign of budding, you know, they have that conversation, your sex conversation. Don't play with boys.
Your friend, your mother's already
exactly.
Like,
don't play with boys.
Exactly.
Don't touch boys. You will die.
Yeah.
But no man had that conversation with me ever.
Yeah.
No man ever came to me and said, "Okay, young man, you're budding, and so now you can make a girl pregnant." And so that conversation was never had. And I think that we need to encourage our older men to begin to have conversations, mentoring conversations with our young men, and say, if your son is 14, he started to break his voice, you need to take his hand and say, I need to tell you something.
in fact, when you see the wet dreams, I wouldn't wait for the voice.
I was going to say
Will you see them? Will you see
Yes.
them? Because now it's, remember what we talked about,
Yeah.
it being hidden. So I feel that that's something that, even if he's not your son, because we have a lot of single mothers who then come into that space, a trusted man should be able to come and say,
a male figure
can
should be
we,
able
a
to.
male figure should be able to come and say, hey, listen, this is what happens. And so you have to act as an aunt, as a mom, to your neighbor's kids, and say, hey, I know I don't talk
because
to
that
them.
elegant African system of passing down sex education,
it's no longer,
it doesn't exist.
Because how would you encourage parents to talk to their children about sex?
I don't think we're so much puzzled about the sex of it. I don't think the intercourse bit is confusing to most people. You eventually get it, even if you're not sat down properly and told. You'll hear a rumor here, piece it together. It's the behavioral aspect of sexuality that I think is complex. Even like condom negotiation. How do you tell your partner you must wear a condom? How do you have conversations and leave your partner whole, even if you're not willing to do certain things? Like, I'm open to kissing, but I'm not going to have oral sex. Because even in marriage, even adults find this complex to tell their partners. So of course 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, when everybody else on the playground is doing certain things, how do you empower your teen? And I think parents, we should go as far as role playing.
You speak to everyone from what parents, teens, couples. How do you encourage them to, first of all, get familiar with each other around sexuality, but also if it's parents talking to their kids? It's an uphill task.
Listen, inside Kenya is still, I don't care what you say, I don't care what the statistics show, I don't care what they show you on TV, on the media, we are still a super conservative society, and that feeds into the sexual conversation, because sex, and this is the thing that I teach, that sex is sacred. And this is that's the back end thing, that somehow in our societies that thing has still remained. And the transgression, the whole idea of transgression of sex not being sacred, and that's the big deal. That's the big deal about it. And so when I say marriage is sacred and sex is sacred, it's not just a transaction that you have on a paper, some guy came and then, did. And those transactions have to start at a place of values. We must admit right now that what we're seeing on Instagram, ili ifikie wazazi, is who wazazi are. That's who we are. That's who we are, and we must accept that somewhere along the way we dropped the ball. And we need to reintroduce, we have to have a new conversation. A new Kenya has to have a new conversation about our values. There's a new morality that's standard because now there's a ubiquity of the internet. So the person in Turkana is no longer as distant.
Oh yes, that's true.
And so now the moral values of Manila in the Philippines and the moral values of Mexico City and the moral values of Amsterdam are now the moral values of the Instagram generation.
Right.
And so we have to then inform our kids and say, listen, in our family, these are our values, right down to 1, 2, 3.
Because it starts with a values exercise as a couple. Like,
exactly.
how do we want to?
Because
what is
values,
success for us?
You set a new rule of values, even outside of what you were raised.
Yes.
You could decide to introduce a new set
New
that works
things, yes.
for us.
I
as
say
a
that
couple.
because values drive behavior.
Yes.
So what I feel that needs to happen with our entire society is just what we're doing here. Is let's have a new conversation about what our values are. These are our values, and this is what drives our values. They're based on these fundamentals. And I feel that these are realities. But the reality is, from a statistics point of view, it's not going up, it's coming down because we have greater education. The more educated our women are, the more educated, the less the prevalence of it.
I love that the prevalence is going down, but it's still alarming.
Can I bring V in? If you had more information in your hands, do you think you would have made a different decision?
Yeah.
You think so? Let's take you back to when you were 15, 16. How would you have wanted someone to introduce that discussion to make it make sense for you?
Okay, just don't just tell them, but show them. You know, if you show me this is what you do, and actually most people don't even understand what sex is. They just say it like this, and then it happened. You know, if most people tell you their stories, like the two of us, and then we hug, today we hug, tomorrow we kiss, and then all of a sudden it happened. But then if somebody tells you this is sex, and this is sex, this is actually what happened, then.
So did you know that you were creating a sexual relationship, or was he just like your boyfriend? You're holding
He was
hands.
just like my boyfriend. We're holding hands.
That's such a
we're
complicated
laughing.
question.
I know. And then suddenly, I think
No, but it actually isn't.
I
A
see.
lot of people end up having. That's what she's saying.
that's what she's
that
saying. Like
people
it
have
was
sex.
holding hands, then day 2, suddenly you're hugging, and then
Yes.
suddenly it's like you find yourselves having sex.
Yes. So you weren't clear, like we're holding hands today, but like by next week Monday.
So there's no goal.
You know.
But
Yes.
I'm saying for 16-year-olds, are you going to have some... Okay, here's what we're going to do.
Some people do that though.
But that is exactly what I'm saying we should be able
Precisely.
to do,
Precisely.
is to say,
When
I'm
they're
okay with the
empowered.
hand holding,
We're
and maybe I'm
empowered.
okay with the kissing, but there's no sex happening until,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you didn't feel empowered to say that to your boyfriend at the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it hadn't been explained to you, you didn't really know what was going on. Yeah.
Okay. Did you feel you could say no?
Yes.
Oh.
She won the debate. I mean, she was the top debater.
Yeah.
She could say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sexual situations are different. You like this person, you're turned on as well. It's not like only the
Yeah.
guys turned on.
You don't want to
know?
be rejected.
So, for me, here's the thing. That's exactly what I felt. That only guys could be, because no one had this conversation with
Yeah.
I
me.
told you that
So
girls
when
are
I was a
turned on.
teen, to hear that a girl was turned on is she's promiscuous. That's terrible.
It just
So
means
you
her body
imagine-
works.
It's still
what
it's
supposed
still,
to
a,
do.
it's still a perception.
It is.
It's
So
still a
imagine
perception.
walking into marriage and thinking, so here's the conversation now. My married couples come and say, it's natural. Her body is working, so that her husband to be doesn't see this is a promiscuous woman.
Yeah,
She isn't.
how can she
She's
want sex?
normal.
There's something
How can
wrong
she
with-
want sex? Of course she wants sex. That's how she was built.
Right.
That's how she was built. And to do anything less is to be in denial. But now
Also
that's...
to take the pressure off guys, like sex is this thing only you want.
yeah.
Like you're imposing on this person that you love. So it's almost apologize. I'm so sorry.
Just a disclaimer here.
Yes.
I'm, like again I said to you, not many church leaders would be willing to come on camera and say some of the things that I said because there's just so much stigma and let me say corporate church position on this thing. And I think it has to be clear. Yes, we agree that there is a moral quotient. There is certainly a moral quotient, but maybe we save that for a conversation
For another day. Valentine, tell us a little bit more about your course. How can people get access to it?
Okay. So the course is Kids and Bodies. It's a 5-part course. The first part, which is for 0 to 5, parents of kids who are 0 to 5, is up on zd.com. It's a lifetime worth of information. And there's information I cover there that, of course, I will not cover in subsequent... I'm not going to repeat myself.
Right.
And there's a conversation with a psychosexual therapist about, how to identify if your child has gone through abuse or is in danger.
Very important.
Yes,
So important.
very important.
Yeah.
And also what to do and what recovery can look like for the family.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe one question I should ask before we hear from V is, why are you so passionate? You've talked about sex for a decade now.
Yes.
Yeah. I know, I've been following you. But why is it so important for you? Why has this always been something that you've been passionate about?
Because your sex life can ruin your life. It's that simple. It can be a great source of joy, a great source of pleasure. Sex in relationships can be play, communication, tenderness, love, all these things. But if it's dealt with the wrong way, if you don't have the right information, you can't communicate with your partner or whatever it is, it can literally just, your life can just go in the complete opposite direction. You wake up and you're like, am I here? Like, you know, and it's just a few choices,
right,
you know, or maybe a lack of information that got you to a certain place.
Okay.
So that's why.
All right.
And also, Africans are dying of AIDS.
Yeah.
More so than any other place on the planet. And now it's becoming more and more a woman's disease.
Oh, yes, it is.
It is.
By far.
It's the number one feminist issue, in my opinion.
Yes.
And I'm a feminist.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how can we not talk about this?
Right. V, how are you doing now? Have you picked up your life? Are you happy again? Are you happy to be a mom? Yeah. You've made peace with it?
Yes.
Okay. What are your future plans?
School.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. What would you want to say to a girl who was in your shoes a few years ago? Yeah.
Or maybe who's pregnant now.
Or who's even pregnant now? Yeah, exactly. And maybe doesn't have the right support. I don't know. What would you want to say to her?
It's not easy, but you can just come out of it strong and maybe be stronger. And there is life after that. Life has to move on.
We applaud you for your courage and just taking on life with that positive outlook. And we're really happy that your family has been supportive of you. Thank you for coming. Thank you all so much. This was a rich conversation.
This was fun.
We need to have more.
I could go on.
You could go on. All right, thank you. So I'll link everyone's details down below, Dr. Pete's as well as Valentine's. And yeah, we just need to break the silence.
Yes.
It's time. We're going to 2019. If we're still feeling like we can't have conversations with our children, if we're not even being honest with ourselves, with our peers, that's a problem. So hopefully this has encouraged someone to think differently about how to approach the conversation around sex education. So please hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and I guess I'll see you guys back here very soon.